What's up, fam? How you feeling? This is episode 1, the first drop of Kicks and Konvos. Man, I'm telling you, this has been a long time coming. I've been really pondering this thought and even trying to make sense of this thought for some time. I mean, it was something that really had came to me in the process of going through the pandemic, where we were actually quarantined. And I was trying to find out a way, something creative, and even as much as just trying to shed some light on some of my interests, but at the same time, giving some form of inspiration and dialogue. And I felt that, what better way than to take my interests as well as inspiration, allow them to collide on one platform, and I called it Kicks and Konvos. I'm excited about this. I really am, because again, as most of you all may know, if you do not know, I am a pastor of Unity Church in Compton, California. And man, I have this real strong interest in tennis shoes. Yeah, sneakers. Be it Jordans, be it Adidas, be it Nike, Air Max, Air Force Ones, you name it, collaborations, colorways, all of that. That actually is an interest of mine, and I've been really kind of rocking with tennis shoes for a minute now. And but I really began to look at it, and I started trying to figure out, like, where did this really birth, out of? And I often tell this story, and this story is very, very unique to me. I can recall being, I think it was I think it was 4th or 5th grade, back in 1985, but I can recall the time, looking back at that time, I was going to a Christian school. There were no uniforms and anything like that, but everybody was rocking, at that particular time, you had either a Latiga shirt or a Lacoste shirt, and you had some 501 Levi's, and you would rock them with some K-Swiss, ice, white, crisp, clean. Can I say cocaine white? Is that that's all right? I ain't gonna get in trouble. Cocaine white, K-Swiss. And man, I remember those shoes, man. And my particular dad would not spend over about $25 to about $30 on some tennis shoes. That was expensive to him. And I can recall in that particular time, I think the case was running about $54, $60 something. And so my father was like, no, we ain't buying that. We're going to go down here to Payless Shoe Store. And I'm like, man, how am I going to go the first day of school with a Latiga shirt, some 501 Levi's that my mom got from Miller's Outpost? That lets you know how old you are. It wasn't a Levi's store. It was called Miller's Outpost. And then I had to come in there with some Pro Wings, some shoes from Payless. And the shoes from Payless was about $12.99. That was, my father said, those shoes was good shoes. Those wore well. Good sole on those shoes. And I was trying to figure out, like, man, come on, Popstar, are you really serious? You want me on my 5th grade year to walk in there where image is something now? I mean, before, you really didn't have no concern about image. You wasn't looking at, wasn't worried about your haircut. You wasn't worried about how you was looking. You was just really big on making sure you looked right. And man, believe it or not, my pops made sure I had to come in there with some Pro Wings. But we was at Payless, and I'm looking. I don't like nothing that I'm seeing. I'm looking. Father's like, hurry up, boy. You got to hurry and pick something out. And I'm like, I'm looking. And boom, lo and behold, I found some Pro Wings that look just like K-Swiss. I said, okay, maybe I can get away with it. Maybe my pants will cover up the sign on the back that says Pro Wings. And so I went ahead and got them. And first day of school, I wore those shoes. Fit looked good, but the shoes were Pro Wings. Now, here's what's interesting, that as I'm walking into school, this particular school, First Lutheran, they have from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade. So I'm in 5th grade. So these 7th and 8th graders are sitting on the steps. We had to walk by these steps. And I was walking, and they looked. They said, "Uh-oh, he got a little Tigger shirt on." And I was like, yeah, they checking me out. "Oh, he got the 501s. They creased." Yeah, I said, "Yeah, got it." They said, wait, hold up. Now, if anybody know, K-Swiss has, I think, only 5 stripes on the side. My Pro Wings had 7. And so all I can hear as I'm walking by, they started counting the stripes on my shoe. Y'all ain't hearing me right now. Are y'all serious? They're counting the stripes on my shoes. And watch this, y'all. It was so amazing. I'm sitting there trying to walk faster. Because I'm trying to, maybe if I move my feet a little faster, they won't see all the different stripes on the side. So they was like, 1, 2, 3. And they got down, they said, "Wait a minute, 5. They said, "Hold up, I see 6. And then another guy said, "No, I see 7. Are you serious? Y'all counted the stripes? Man, and I was literally like, I am not going back to school with them shoes again. I'm not doing it. I can't. Y'all are hearing me. I'm serious, y'all. I'm like, I am boycotting going to school because of the fact that I was totally embarrassed. And I remember my mom saying, "Get that boy some shoes. Get him some shoes. Get him what he wants." And in that particular time, what was the shoe, believe it or not, was Michael Jordan's his shoe that just came, an Air Jordan shoes. And I remember my first pair of Nike Jordans was right there, right after the whole K-Swiss. And man, I was so glad to get those shoes. And then after that, my mom got me some Pumas, and I was like, man, this is what it's all about. And from there was just, what grew in me was this affinity to just rock tennis shoes. Now, some of you all may not really understand or even think that has any bearing or any significant value, but oftentimes we find ourselves falling victim to image. We find the opinions of people being something that warrants our efforts to make sure that others are pleased. Now, it wasn't that the shoe was not protecting my foot. It wasn't that the shoe wasn't, a good shoe. It wasn't that the shoe was dirty, but the shoe was clean. But because of the name on the shoe that everybody has claimed to be a weak name, I thought within myself that the image or the brand of that shoe was worthless in comparison to the thoughts of others rather than the maker of the shoe. And we find ourselves falling victim to that because sometimes we get caught up in the image, and our image is driven by the very thought that we have of what people think, rather than realizing that the maker, God himself, yes, has made us with value and made us clean and made us significant. Where God is taking you, he can take you with whatever shoe you have on. Yeah, not to my 5th grade self, I wouldn't have never believed that, but I realize and understand. And y'all got to understand what I'm saying, right? You know what I'm saying? That you have to realize your value. You have to realize how significant you are, because you don't know where God is taking you. You don't know where you're walking. You don't know where you're headed. People will drive you to their mode and model, and they will always want you to appease them when you're walking in a particular place that is not conducive for your flow. One of the things that's very significant that I find to be profoundly true is that when you're always gripped by the opinions of people, they can easily shape you. They can mold you. They can cause you to become something that you have never, ever desired to be, because they'll try to convince you that this is the way. They'll convince you that this is how it's supposed to be. I'm just of the full persuasion at this particular point in life that you can't let people dictate how you carry out what it is that you feel God has given you. And so when I was looking at being in the 5th grade, I'm so big on the image, not for myself, but more so how others would view me. And kind of reminding me of this particular story, this particular king who had this affinity for clothes. He had this strong desire for clothing, and he wanted to always wear the finest clothes and have the best of the best. And these 2 con men came up, and they really started trying to convince the king that they had the best garments, and they had the best material and the best thread. And they said, this thread is so unique. This thread is so powerful that even when you wear it, it's invisible. The king says, yes, that's the type of outfit that I want. That's what I want. And they said, but before we can make this particular outfit, we need a deposit, right? And crazy as it is, was amazing that they got this deposit. He called for the treasury of the kingdom and took this lump sum, and he gave it to the con men. The con men started, preparing the garments, and they started trying to bring things together. And they was pretending for real like they was making this garment, but this garment was supposed to be quote unquote invisible, right? And as they're making these garments, the king is wondering, hey, when's my garments going to be ready? When's my garments going to be finished? And he sends his assistants to go check out the men. So they went to the house, and they're looking at these men, and they see the men through the window, and they're pretending like they're sewing things. And they walked in. They said, where is the king's garments? They said, you don't see it? And the assistant said, no, I don't see it. They said, you don't see the pattern? You don't see the garments there? And the assistants, not wanting to come back to the king with, bad news that they don't have the garments, they said, oh, yes, we see it. Oh, it looks nice. So they went back and reported to the king, man, you're going to love what they're making. You're going to love the garments. You're going to love how they're going to lay on you. They're nice. The garments, the patterns, everything. So the king, really not believing those assistants, he says, let me go ahead and send another set of assistants to go check out the garments. This other set of assistants went, and as they went, they themselves didn't see it, right? They couldn't make out what it was. And so the con man said, you don't see the garments? And the assistant says, I don't want to go back and have the king think that I didn't see it. So yeah, I see it. I just want to report to him that what the first assistant saw was really here. So he went back. He says, yeah, the king, the garments are there. The pattern is nice. And the king said, what kind of pattern is it? He said, well, it's a unique pattern. So the king at this particular point is not believing the 2 set of assistants, right? And so king says, come on. He grabs his security. He grabs his entourage. He grabs everybody. They go down to where the con men are putting the garments together. And the con man says, oh, king, you made it. You're just in time. We just finished your garments. And so the king is sitting there. He says, well, where are they? He says, they're invisible, you know. And he says, okay. He says, well, we need you to take your garments off. We want you to put these garments on. And the king puts the garment, they pretend to put the garment rather on him, right? And the king is standing there naked. And he's naked, but he's saying, okay, the garment is on me. He's asking his assistants, what do you think? And the assistant said, oh, you look good, king. You look good. Things look well. Until one lady was walking by with her son and says, Mommy, look, the king is naked. My issue with that story is not with the con men, but my issue of that particular story is with those in whom the king had entrusted. That if you have the wrong people in your life saying you look good based upon what they claim they see, they'll have you walking around here looking crazy. Guys in the 5th grade who were older than me could have just kind of had a conversation with me, but rather they made jokes, which could have literally depressed me, could have caused maybe some type of emotional issue. Maybe that's the reason why I buy so many sneakers now, because I got traumatized, right? But I believe that there is value in having the right people in your space. And here's the next one, having the right people in your face. Because you're going somewhere, you're walking somewhere, you're trying to achieve something, and you cannot just have any and everybody around you who will literally take you out of the mindset, right? Or the space or the mentality that is intended for your success. Well, man, this is what Kicks and Konvos is all about. I mean, it's just about conversation, and as much as bringing an interest and allowing it to collide. I feel it's very significant to understand the power and the significance of knowing yourself. You know, I think one of the challenges has often been the fact that people fall victim to the lack of understanding who they are. And when you lack the understanding of who you are, you can easily be defined by somebody who is not even interested in you. You know, you got people sometimes who always say, you know, certain people are always trying to holler at me, but you don't even realize the people that be trying to holler at you is nothing but snakes. You know, just because something's trying to come at you or get at you doesn't mean that it's right for you. You got to start to clarify what should be and what should not be in your life. I wrote something down. I wanted to read it. Let me say this to you because I want to make sure I quote it right. It says, you cannot allow the desire of who you want somebody to be to seduce your imagination. You cannot allow your desire of who you want somebody to be to seduce your imagination. Just because you want them to be one thing, right, doesn't mean that they are. And a lot of times we find ourselves in that on both sides of the spectrum. We're at a place where on one side we have this desire that we want somebody to be like this, but at the same time you become the individual who's the recipient of that you're trying to live up to a particular standard that it was never engrafted in you to be. And so we have this back and forth. We vacillate between these opinions and even as much as our thoughts of ourselves. But when you get to the place you really understand who you are and you walk in who you are and you begin to embrace who you are, you start to see that who you are is of more value than you trying to be something that somebody wanted you to be. I'm at the place particular time now. I'm at the place mindset rather now that I start to realize I'm good and I'm cool with just being who I am. I know it's a common statement, you know, take it or leave it, you know, but I think I'm really of a clearer persuasion now that in life you're going to have some people that just don't like you. There's some shoes that come out that I look and I say, man, nah, But then there's some shoes that come out, I'm like, man, I got to get those. But then at the same time, there's also some shoes that come out that I don't like the first time, but then after a while, they grow on me. These shoes are now starting to gain such a level of value the older they get. But I came across something that was very significant. I was looking at this particular Instagram page, and the statement was, wear your shoes, for God's sake. Because some people try to keep their shoes in a box, and they try to preserve them and not wear them, and try to keep them fresh and clean, not knowing that oxidation happens. The shoe starts to break down. The rubber gets old. It dries out and it dry rots. And then when you try to put the shoe on, the shoe literally almost falls apart. Some of us can be held in a box for too long, to the degree that you never ever amount to become what you were intended for, what you was created for. I mean, what else was a shoe made for? A shoe was made to be worn. A shoe was made for you to be able to walk a longer distance. And the question that I have, as we just having this little conversation, the value of who you are has been boxed in for so long that you have not become or are being used for what you were created and made for and made to be. I mean, how long do you think you could remain in a box, unseen, unnoticed, looked over? And how long, watch this, how long will you be able to hold yourself together without falling apart when it's time for you to be used? What better way than to be you? Step out of the box. Do something different. Risk something. Take a step out. Challenge yourself. Do something that will cause you to see you in a different light. Instead of being around people who will see your nakedness but won't check it. Get around some people that will challenge your thought space, challenge your ingenuity, challenge what it is that you have been commissioned and called to do. I mean, think about it. There's power in what it is that you have in your head right now. Some of us are missing the very opportunities to be able to express those things, or even to bring those things to light. As I was talking to some of the others, I was talking about the shoe. It's called the Dunk. And that shoe was considered to be almost like a flop almost. You know, the one that really took off was the Air Force One, right? And the Air Jordan. The Dunk was almost the one that was kind of shelved. But then it got unshelved because Nike decided they wanted to go ahead and take that whole Dunk shoe and started using different colorways. And then even it went into a whole nother market space called skateboarding. And they kind of thickened out the tongue. They thickened out some of the area around where the foot goes in. And that shoe started becoming more popular to skateboarders. And then skateboarders started showing other different colorways and other different thoughts and other creativity. And that shoe became a sought after shoe. Once a shoe that was shelved, that began to recreate itself, became something that everybody had desired. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how long you've been shelved. I don't care how far you have gone away from what you have been intended to do. You still can come back and serve your purpose well, and then also become a sought out individual, creative, an influencer. You can. I don't care how old you are. There's people of older age that has risen in this whole new era and time of social media and has made such an impact because they begin to find self, finding who they are. I want to know, if you knew all of who you are and what you had the ability to do, how much more would you be able to accomplish? I think there's a lot that God is going to use you for if you just open yourself up to do a lot in what God has gifted you to do. So Kicks and Konvos, y'all, is the place you want to be. This is episode 1, drop number 1. We got about 9 more drops, and I think y'all want to make sure y'all get them, because again, it's going to be an amazing time. I want to pause, and I really want to kind of close with this statement, because I think it's very significant that as you have been listening and as you've been paying attention, there's something that I believe God has assigned for me to tell you in this whole thought of, understanding you and who you are and what God has called you to do. Put your shoes on, put your sneakers on, and get ready to walk in them. Because what God is getting ready to cause you to do, He's getting ready to cause you to walk a distance. And the distance that you're walking is not for you to walk into more pain and more issues, but God is going to cause you to walk a distance from the very people that try to devalue you. All you have to do is keep on walking. Because when I go back to the 5th grade, one thing I realized and understood was that the young men that made fun of me, I kept walking. I didn't stop. I didn't turn around. I didn't try to fight. I kept walking. And when I kept walking, I realized the power of who I was came by way of how far I got away from them. So I'm just trying to get you to understand, the further you get away from the thing or them or it that's devaluing you, the stronger, the better, the wiser, the more profound you'll be. Let's keep walking. This is Kicks and Konvos. I'm Johnny Withers. Looking forward to the next episode, the next drop. Come check us out. Peace.